Hi, I'm Bonnie McDonald Dixon with Storyvan TV, and I'm a health advocate. And I look for amazing, interesting people. And I have found a wonderful person here today. We're going to interview Erika Fame. And it's interesting because her name is so fascinating. It's like fame. So there you go. And she is an intimacy and self expression coach. And what is that? We're going to find out in detail here. So thank you for being with us today. Welcome, Erica. We're so happy you're here. And we want to learn more because this is a very unique niche that you have for businesses. And what would you say that your mission in fulfilling your business? But before that, how did you find this amazing topic to share with people and what brought you there?
Yeah, so I I came to be what I'm doing right now through my own personal experience. Um, Once upon a time, I was suppressing a lot of things about myself, mainly my emotions and shame around my past. And I didn't realize at the time how much this had been weighing me down like a big old bag of rocks until this somewhat toxic energy started seeping out and poisoning my life and showing up in the most intimate of places, in the bedroom. It was inhibiting my sexuality. So this was a time when I was fresh at my business and entrepreneurship, and I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. You know, we always want the things really fast, and I felt like a failure at entrepreneurship. And to punish myself for my inadequacy there, I wasn't allowing myself to feel the joy, the pleasure of being turned on by my partner, and everything else just seemed way more important than sex. I had way more productive things to do. So I was always turning him down, leaving him feeling rejected. And it finally created a big enough pain point in our relationship where I knew I had to go inward and kind of investigate what was going on. And when I did, the first thing I found was a lot of unprocessed shame and emotion towards my past. I realized, like the good girl I had been taught to be growing up, that I had been suppressing my negative feelings all of my life. So I went on a journey of sensuality, really immersing myself in feeling it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and finally was able to find release for all of that pent up emotion. And lo and behold, where I thought I was broken, being somewhat sexually disconnected, I actually discovered I'm a highly sexual person. Like, who knew? And I noticed that the more I came alive in my sexual expression in the bedroom, the more I came alive in all other areas of my life too. And this revelation literally rocked my world, like completely diverting my life's direction personally and professionally. And I ended up diving headfirst into the world of kink, tantra, all things pleasure. I started living every aspect of my life through the lens of intimacy, educating myself through workshops and books and being guided by renowned coaches and leaders in the field, and identified with myself as an orgasmic woman, exploring all aspects of my sexuality and even becoming intentionally non-monogamous with my partner of 8 years. And as I deepened in my understanding of my sexual expression, I found that my confidence grew, my power grew, my ability to express my voice grew, where previously that was so hard for me to do. My boundaries grew, my connection to my body grew, my love for myself grew. And I was noticing those shame stories just kind of crumbling away. So through this crazy adventure. Not only have I learned how owning your sexuality can vastly improve your romantic relationship, but now have tapped into sexual energy itself, one of the most powerful forces in the universe when intentionally used to enhance all other areas of your life, especially, business is one you mentioned. As I often work with entrepreneurs as an intimacy and self-expression coach. So yeah, prior to this journey of reclaiming my right to radiance and pleasure, my doubts had screamed at me at much higher decibels than my talents. But after creating an intimate relationship with my own sexuality, I got access to more of me. I felt like all of me. I felt whole. And it felt like a puzzle piece fitting into place. And now it's such an integral part of who I am. And our sexual expression is an integral part of who everyone is. But we're taught not to see that. So when I personally was struggling with these things, I couldn't help but wonder how many other women and people are also struggling silently, alone.
That
Like,
was my next question because I think I'm in my three-quarter time, so much of that was suppressed or not even ever talked about, and nothing to do with business. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating to me that you found this link, because often I believe masculine energy is, obviously used in many parts of business. In fact, being very masculine is often, um, you've got to be masculine to be great in business, and women suppress it. And we're thinking they might think of us as not highly sexual or not highly energized for business, but yet we truly are. So I love that you found this link and of business and sexuality. So when you're first working with someone, uh, there obviously would be interested and attracted that way. But do you find people really have challenges trying to connect the two?
so I never really force the connection on anyone. I would say the people who come to me, they naturally get it in some way.
Okay.
They get it in their brain, but they maybe don't get it in their body or their lived experience. Because it's not a part of who they are or how they operate in the world right
Mhm.
now. I would my expertise in coaching is on the holographic nature of reality, how your relationship to your body or family or business or anything in life is actually mirrored in your relationship to sexuality, or your relationship to business.
So it's
It's
very
all,
holistic, is what you're doing. It's a very holistic
yeah, it's all
sexuality.
connected.
All aspects of sexuality can affect different parts of their life, in a
Totally.
sense.
Yeah. So I say I'm a self-expression coach. And if you think about the ways you express yourself or don't express yourself in the bedroom, maybe you really have a hard time asking for what you really want. You have a
Mhm.
hard time setting boundaries. You have a hard time being connected to your body. And if that's happening in the bedroom, it's likely happening in all the other areas of your life too, where you're suppressing your voice, you're suppressing what you really want, you're just overall maybe disconnected from yourself and your vitality.
Mhm.
So people start to see those connections through the conversations that we have. And then if they want an epic business and an epic love life, then they see that and understand the connection, and then it becomes a really fun pathway for personal development. Essentially, I use sexuality as a vehicle for personal transformation.
This is just a wonderful, fascinating topic to me. Um, I would just say that, do you use tools for people to use, or like exercises to bring their sexuality out, uh, that maybe they've never thought of before?
Yeah, definitely. A big part of it is connecting one to their body and getting them out of their head, because performance, perfectionism, insecurities, all stress, all those things live in our head. So when you can connect to your body, you become more sensory. You can feel more. You can feel more pleasure. You can feel the person that you're with. So that's a really big part of it. I definitely give people guided tools and practices to connect with their bodies. And yeah, just like overall doing more of what feels good in your heart and your soul versus following the path or the timeline that someone else has given you or that you may feel pressured to follow from society. I love to share that I'm a genius at helping women pioneer a life path that turns them on. That's a big part of my work is following the life path that you actually want to live, not what we've been told, because we're fed a lot of things in life.
Mm-hmm. We are. We are. In fact, it has, I believe, gotten better because of social media and women talking to women. My husband on the plane, we were just on a plane coming back from Florida back over to Vancouver, and he watched a movie about women and them talking. And at that point in this movie, they had no written, but they were talking with each other. And I think just being able to speak it to another woman, such as yourself, of how they're actually feeling. They sometimes women don't have someone else to speak to about a subject. Uh, Strangely enough, my mother, a nurse, never talked to me about sex
Yeah.
ever. And my father just said, "Don't stay out too late." That was all he ever said. And so I learned it all on my own. And of course, I thought I knew everything at 16, which I didn't. But, and then in business, thinking about it for myself all these years, there's times that I had very high energy and it was dancing because there's a dance called the West Coast Swing and it's very sensual and
Mm-hmm.
very sexy. And boy, does that ever bring it all up to the surface, right?
Yeah.
And I
It's
actually
floor play.
floor play, I call it, yeah. And I also shared that dancing, intimate dancing, is like safe sex over and over and over again because it can be very sensual. Say in some of the Latin dances, well, any dance actually, but because you're touching someone and it's very intimate, but yet your energy gets very high that way. So I love your connection of using it all throughout your how it can affect your whole life if that channel is open. So how can you explain the concept though of actual sexual energy? That would be interesting to me to hear a little more about that.
Yeah, thanks so much for asking that, because I think it's something that can be misunderstood and is really important. And I love your examples because it's so clear that eros and sexual energy was flowing in those instances. Um, so yeah, to talk about it, everything is energy. This was Albert Einstein's famous assertion. Our entire universe is energy. Therefore, you are energy. And just like you were saying, like it's shocking how little we learn growing up about something that's so essential to our being. Oftentimes society talks about energy in the forms of like what you eat, getting enough sleep, being sure you exercise because of how it affects your energy. And it's so important because energy in a much larger sense is expansive. It's all encompassing. It's this universal force with the power to manifest miracles and bring new worlds into reality. But nobody's talking about the piece of that creative power that resides in each of us as our sexual energy. Sexual energy is the creative energy of life itself. It doesn't just birth humans and new life in that way, but when it's channeled intentionally, this energy can bring forth innovation. ideas, conversations, projects, and ultimately real life achievements that, if you're a business owner, are integral to your business success. And if you're not, it doesn't matter. Like, this energy can be intentionally used to move forward things in your life. So sexual energy is more than just sex. It's sensuality, it's turn on, it's pleasure, it's glorying in who you are and savoring every moment.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It was interesting. The world is a huge place now on the internet, and LinkedIn is just an amazing place to meet other businesses. And what I know is that we're often attracted to people. And like, I read your profile and thought, wow, I've never heard anyone do this before. And so, what I know is that you're going places, girl, because so many people will have thought, oh, if I could only talk to someone, or if I could only do better in business. But once they learn this almost not magical, but special place that they can actually use for themselves. I mean, they don't even need a partner. They could learn from you how to bring that sexual energy up. And then, as you said, use it for whatever needs to be done. And, but so much of the time, often women, as particularly men too, but it's suppressed. And so you think, well, I can't talk about that with anyone. Oh my goodness. Or it's in a context that's, oh, I guess when I was young, it was more of that it was bad, or something,
Shameful.
or
Yeah.
shame, that's the word, shameful. And so if we can lift that blanket of shame off of us, and the world, it's a much lighter lighter place. And for succeeding generations to lift that off, because it is a natural thing. It's not like it's unnatural, it's very natural. But the oddness is humans tend to not talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So how can someone get started harnessing the power of their sexual energy? Can you give us a little teaser here?
Yeah, totally. So a couple things I mentioned before, like connecting to your body, just creating that intimate time to be present with just you. There's so many distractions we have in the world, and that's going to pull you further away from your intimacy. Doing more of what feels good, honoring your desires, just to name a few. And if any of this feels foreign to you, or you don't know where to start, or maybe you know how and you can see the importance and value of this, but you're still putting it on the back burner, and you want some extra accountability, guidance, community resources, I have a 21-day pleasure challenge that is starting this week on November 1st, spanning 21 days. And even if you're hearing about this after it started, it's not too late and you can still be a part of it. It'll be hosted inside a Telegram group where you'll be sent potent and accessible 5 to 10 minute guided pleasure practices to be in that sexual energy, working with it, and really starting from a place that's grounded in your nervous system. Because I know this can, like you're talking about, the shame that comes up, it can feel unsafe to engage with yourself in these ways. I'm really making it accessible and inviting to folks. And my promise to you is that no matter what season of life you're going through, you can tap into a meaningful level of pleasure through these mind, body, spirit-based practices. Like whether you're coming from experiencing grief, heartbreak, anxiety, frustration, disconnection from your body, or maybe you want to turn yourself on for epic love, enhance your mind body connection, just feel radiant in your body, take up space with your expression, and step into your bigness and power. Like, this challenge is designed to open you up to states of surrender, trust, gratitude, forgiveness, overwhelming joy, manifesting desires, and just feeling vibrant and alive. And it's on pay what supports you pricing, which is so important to me to make it as accessible as I can, because every woman and human deserves this. Pleasure is your birthright.
So I have a question for you. So for some people that might start this challenge, if it feels too much, I'm sure that they can adjust the level of their engagement. Is that true?
So, yes, totally. And like day one, we are starting with things that don't even have to do with sexuality. So just know when I say pleasure challenge, it's not all things that have to do with your sexuality, because pleasure is so much more than that. So if you're kind of weary and this feels outside of your comfort zone, I would say even more the reason to jump in, but know that your safety and your comfort is the utmost importance to me. So we're really dipping our toes in slowly and then slowly ramping it up, because that's how a woman needs to be engaged in her pleasure. Like we can't just, stick it in right away. Like we take time to warm up. So I'm really honoring the truth of that and what allows a woman to fully open and become alive in herself.
So right now, this 21-day challenge will be reserved for women. In future, though, you may have other things that include the men, but right now, this is a women's intimacy challenge.
Yep, and it's women and non-binary humans. So if you identify with your feminine energy and want to empower that more, but maybe don't necessarily identify as a woman, inclusivity and all of that is really important to me. So I wanted to be sure to speak to that too.
Fabulous. So to get a hold of Erika will be quite an experience. We have it running on the ticker tape for LinkedIn, where you can get a hold of her by email, which is a great way to connect with her. And then you said, what are some of your other favorite ways to be connected to people? And do you offer a exploratory session with someone?
Yeah, totally. So the love or the space that I love to play on and express myself fully is on Instagram. So you can, if you are on Instagram, you can message me there at the.pleasure.nymph, at the pleasure nymph. Send me a message, and if you're interested in just exploring what could be possible for you, I do offer introductory calls for free, so we can set that up. And if you want to join the challenge, you can let me know on Instagram. And if you're not on Instagram, you can simply just send me a text message. My number is 320-894-5014. And we can set it up that way too.
Well, this has been really fascinating today, Erika. I'm just thrilled to know there's someone like yourself that's helping so many women learn about themselves, their own energy, their own sexual energy, their own pleasure, and how it relates to life in general. And for all of you businesswomen, uh, this is an amazing way to create that energy that will help propel your business to where you want it to go. So thank you so much, Erika, for coming on Storyvan TV today. I know we'll be watching that. I look forward to the challenge because, as you said, it can be when you're younger, or maybe like myself in three-quarter time. It's all good, and it's a great place to explore oneself and feel great about life, because heaven knows we all need a little feeling good in these days. So
Definitely.
anything else you'd like to share before we go?
I just want to say you expressed all of that perfectly. I feel like you really did it justice, and it was such a pleasure being on here today. And yeah, if this has piqued your interest a little bit, if you find yourself totally leaned in or maybe even a little scared, that is an invitation to connect with me and be in my world. And I can't wait to meet you.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be seeing you again for sure on Storyvan TV. And with that, we're going to head off into some more stories. But just make sure to connect with Erika. And even if it's not for you, it might be for someone you know. So make sure to share this information with other women and non-binary. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.